Guys, there's no sound, I promise. It's just a waiting screen. Hello, hello, hello. Test, test. Oh, looks like it swept the high. We'll do the stream in a different order today. Normally, I start off with traditional stuff, but we'll start off with Bitcoin today since this is the most, the most interesting thing that's happening. I'll give everyone a second to pop in and then get started. So it looks like it cleared this liquidity level here, which I'll go into why that's probably not the best move for the next few days. Oh, this thing is shitting. Coinbase isn't reacting like other exchanges like Bybit. Bybit is like going crazy right now. Okay, so let's well, this is figuring its life out. We'll check back in on this little 1 minute dealio in a few minutes, but let's go ahead and look at the macro stuff. So today is an important day because it's the first day we're actually retesting this trading range. Here, here, and here, and here. All right, so this is the macro trading range that we had set up during the bear market, and now we have our first test today of it. It's expected to be volatile. It's an obvious level that people are shorting. There's a lot of signals that are saying to go short here. Some of the signals, the obvious ones are the weekly cloud, for example, right? We're hitting resistance. So some people are shorting resistance. We see the daily range, obvious level to short here, or take profit on longs or whatever. And then additionally, when we look at things like RSI, for example, where are my indicators? Oh, weird. When we look at RSI, for example, this thing's diverging like crazy. So we see all these higher highs, but unfortunately, the RSI is not making higher highs, which means if you trade RSI divergence, this is a sign of weakening bullish strength. And that doesn't necessarily mean, it's just going to turbo nuke, but it does mean that like if you're expecting a super up candle, the odds of that happening are pretty low, and it most likely just needs to reset momentum or mean revert or something, Oh, I see. I got a couple of subs here. So I got AJ Shark, tier one for 6 months. It looks like. Thanks, man. And we got an anonymous one. There's a gifted tier one sub. Thanks, guys. Off to a good start here. Some of the other reversal signals that we're talking about. Oh, got another one. You guys are crazy. Oh, there we go. There's the alert. Is it popping up? You see the little carrot, like coming out of the ground. There should be like a little animation. That's like a springing little carrot. Okay, cool. So some other signs of weakening, short-term weakening. So when I'm using this for context, right? Like I'm not meaning that like the entire market is looking weak. I just mean that like this kind of stuff probably just needs to pull back a little bit and then continue going up. But let's talk about some other options or some other metrics. So we got the RSI, which is diverging. If we look at Bollinger Bands on the 4-hour, man, I wonder if like, is TradingView just like having trouble right now? Because it's, yeah, anyway, it's really laggy. 4-hour Bollinger Band's not the most encouraging thing. We have a similar setup to this from a few weeks back. We see here that like it kind of was like pushing this high, was hammering this high, hammering this high. It pushed, tried to break out, and then reversed down to the lower band. So we need to watch this 4-hour close, see how it closes. Right now, there's a lot of volatility. It's doing the Darth Maul thing where it's just kind of like doing this. Ignore that shit. Like that's just a place where everyone's going to lose their money. Unless you got super fast fingers and you really know what you're doing. Probably not a good idea to trade that stuff. But everyone and their mom is looking at charts. Check out SPY and QQQ. Okay. Oh, because the Fed. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, everything's popping off. What was it? I didn't even read it. What did it say? What was the actual news on it? $25? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know the actual press conference is in like 25 minutes or whatever. But anyway, so talking about more of these like weakening trends, we also see it in the form of a rising wedge. So if we're looking at this rising wedge, it would look something like this. This is something that I talked about in the trading group, but the problem with rising wedges, you can draw them a ton of different ways. Like you probably saw me draw it this way before, and then it like kind of slithered out the side, and it didn't really do anything actionable up or down, really. It kind of just, you know, snaked its way up this way, but not a clean breakout one way or the other. And so I've opted to redraw it this way because I feel like the integrity is still there, and you know, the price action meets the you know, the expected boundaries of the rising wedge. So it makes sense to me. Additionally, we see a fairly clean volume profile. So with rising wedges, you want to see declining volume over the majority of it, and that's what we see. And if you want an objective metric, we just look at this little like moving average fellow right here, and you can see quite clearly it's declining, right? So you don't need to like look at this and be like, well, this is higher than this and blah blah blah. Just look at the moving average, and it is overall declining. Now, of course, we do see today, you know, the last couple of hours have been outliers because it's, you know, a news event, people are speculating. But the most important thing that we see here is this major uptick in volume is occurring at a level that's macro resistance, and it's making a new annual high. But the thing to take away here is it's not moving very far, which means that there's an equal amount of selling pressure and buying pressure. And even though the price is moving up and down a little bit, there are sellers for the buyers. And if you watched my video that I put out on why markets, called Why Markets Move, if you haven't watched that, check it out. It was a course that I made, basically going through supply and demand analysis through the lens of price action and volume. And when we see things like this, that is concerning because that means that there's a lot of overhead supply. God damn it, there's a lot of overhead supply, and when we see that in conjunction with divergence, that usually means that there's buyer exhaustion. And if we do break to the downside of this, let's talk about some targets. Target for this thing would be, we just measure the bottom to the top, something like that. So we get 2,900, and then we just project it downward. So projection downward would be 2,900, something like that. Or if it breaks to the upside, it would be something like this. Rising wedges do have a bearish bias, meaning that they tend to want to reverse the majority of the time. But in some cases, they do break to the upside, and if they do, they have a bullish target. And it's, you know, it's kind of similar to like pennants or symmetrical triangles. The direction that it arrives in usually skews the bias. So in this case, it would favor the upside, but they can also break to the downside, and they have the measured target, you know, that are similar. Yeah, this is, I'm watching this. I have another screen pulled up with the 1 minute chart, and this thing's really fighting it out. This is interesting because it's at such a crucial point. Usually I don't really care about this kind of volatility. I'll just sit the day out. But the fact that it's like where the market is making a new high and we're sitting on the rising wedge, it has me particularly interested. So let's talk about the downside target here. So downside target would be basically a retest of 25, you know, low 25,000s. And that would be, let's go to our daily chart. So 25,000 would be like somewhere down here. So we'll just make a little circle here. It would essentially be a retest of this guy, right? So here's our prior level, comes down here, then bounces. And if we look at things like the 4-hour cloud, that makes a lot of sense, right? So if we come down here and we hit this cloud and reverse, perfect. But of course, we know what happens if it comes down here and closes inside the cloud. We're going to be expecting the edge-to-edge play, which is not what we want to see if we want to see this bullish edge-to-edge play. Now, someone requested on Monday that I go into more in depth with the Ichimoku cloud. And I'm going to spend some time, probably 30 minutes, discussing Ichimoku cloud in depth. But for now, we'll just keep it to the high-level concepts, right? So, you know what? I should probably turn this notification off for follows, maybe? What do you guys think? I don't know. I'll have to play around with it. Either way, we still are on track for this edge-to-edge on the weekly. So don't get it confused. Like just because I'm looking and I'm seeing weakness on the lower time frame, that doesn't mean that this isn't still valid. Now, if we do see the weekly cloud close or the weekly candle close below the cloud, well then we know what that would mean. That would mean a failed edge to edge, a failed breakout, and we would expect to see the market kind of slither down here. So let's go ahead and use this opportunity to talk about the dollar index, because dollar index is also doing something interesting. Dollar index is currently sitting below its cloud, which if you're a Bitcoin bull, dude, I think my control key is messed up because every time I hit control Z to like undo, it just types Z and it's pissing me off. Either way, we are currently sitting at what could be argued to be a cloud breakout. Now, if this thing wicks and bounces and closes back inside the cloud, we'd most likely be targeting this for this weekly Kijun, and we'll talk about that more. But right now, this thing's looking like it's breaking to the downside, which if you're a Bitcoin bull, that's what we want, right? If you want Bitcoin to go up, you want the dollar to be going down because it's an inverse play to the dollar, right? So if this thing shows weakness now but closes back inside the cloud, expect Bitcoin to pull down. And if this thing closes outside the cloud, well, that would be considered a cloud breakout. And we would, look for the weekly cloud or the weekly candles to continue downward, which is what you want to see if you're a Bitcoin bull. All right. So going back to Bitcoin, right? So if we look at the weekly cloud on the dollar, this coincides with the edge-to-edge play. So weakness on the dollar should correspond to strength in Bitcoin. And right now, it's kind of just figuring its life out, right? This is a very questionable time. We want to see where this weekly candle closes. We're set up. We have the handshake to get going. the moment we close aside the cloud, that is the signal that, we're targeting the other side. That's why I got this little magnet bro in here. But again, if this closes below, then it's a failed edge to edge. Now, if we look at the lower time frame, right? When we're looking at targets, this makes total sense that we would see this breakout close, and I would expect that any sort of pullback here happens pretty aggressively. There's a lot of swing lows that were never tapped, like that, and that means there's a lot of liquidity here that is begging to get swept. A lot of unswept lows. So if you see that on your timeline on Twitter where people are talking about, oh, unswept lows, this is what they're referring to. There's a lot of lows here that haven't been swept, which means there's stops that haven't been run. And so if we do get this ball going and it sweeps this first low, like this guy right here, I expect this to be a pretty aggressive cascade downward, and most likely targeting something that breaks this low here. The hourly 600, or this is a setup that I've kind of coined in my Discord that I call the impulse route. And this would be targeting the impulse route here, which makes sense. There's a lot of people bought that, and they would put their stops there. So short. Is that a question or a statement? I don't really know. Any questions about this? I mean, you can short if you want to, but I mean, that's up to you, man. Like if you're playing daily candles, then no, probably not. Like it's not advisable to go against the trend. The trend is up. The daily chart is, bro, TradingView is killing me right now. The daily chart is very clearly in an uptrend. Dude, TradingView is having a fit right now. It's like it's so slow to load. Yeah, it must be getting a lot of activity because of this. Everything's slow to load on TradingView. Give me the sauce, T. Are you a millennial that was raised on memes? I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, dude. All we're talking about here is where I think the market's going. Anyway, any questions about this? Because I want to spend some time talking about cloud strategy, and it'll give us some time to let the market resolve what's going on here, and we'll check back in on it. But before I press forward, let's go ahead and talk about, or answer some questions before we go into the cloud. You have 13 minutes till Powell speaks. I mean, this is already priced in. Like Powell speaking is not going to make the market move. It's the announcement. You asked about Bybit. I mean, Bybit, you can't trade on Bybit if you're a U.S. citizen, but they don't KYC. And there's VPNs that exist. So I'm not going to recommend that you do. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? No Americans ever trade on Bybit. Exactly. Like that would just be, that would be uncouth. Okay. So let's go ahead and make some notes here. Let's update the notepad. So, let's say, so BTC weekly shows, weekly continues to show strength, and the setup for the edge to edge is still valid. Target equals 43 to 40. 43, 40. Say 1. 2. Low TF. Let's say 4 hour and below. Show potential signs of fire exhaustion. And let's talk, I'll list those out. So 4 hour RSI divergence. Hourly rising wedge. What else did I say? Oh, volume tapering in conjunction with weaker highs. So I'll go ahead and clarify what I mean by that. So when we look at these highs, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to know that this is bigger than this, is bigger than this, is bigger than this, is bigger than this. So we see the length of these legs up are getting shorter and shorter, right? Very clearly getting shorter and shorter. And it's doing so on declining volume, which is a form of divergence. But this is, I'll say, C tube video titled Why Markets Move for reference. So if you want to dig more into that concept, go ahead and go to my YouTube channel and check that out. Hourly rising wedge, let's write the target. So target equals, I already forgot what it was, 29.4, 20, whatever, that's close enough. So we'll say 25.4, 25,400. We'll say bearish. I'll do both. Bearish target equals blue. Then we'll say bullish target equals $29,400 or 2,900 for whatever is, what does it say? 32.6. That's good enough. 32,600. I will make a note about this hourly rising wedge. Note has not broken out in either direction yet. How's that? That look good? Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's everything there. Okay. All right. So any questions about these notes that I made before we go into the cloud stuff? Oh, I guess I'll add Dixie on here too. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. Dixie. Monthly trend is still bullish and sitting on macro support. So I'll go ahead and show you what I mean by that. So the breakdown is on the weekly, which of course the weekly will show weakness before the monthly. So that makes sense. Currently sitting on macro support and the trend is still bullish. It's bullish until we close below this key June. And I'm going to go into detail about that. So we'll say still bullish. Monthly trend is still bullish and sitting on macro support. Weekly is on the verge of breaking out of the cloud to the downside. Bullish for BTC. Yeah, so if this Dixie closes a month, so monthly candle closes in 9 days. If this thing closes a bearish engulfing, that would be uber bullish for Bitcoin. If this thing does this, where it closes the opposite of this guy, where the whole thing closes like down here or something like that. Not only would it crush this Kijun, but it would also be a total reversal, this bounce, and of course, it would lead into the bearish trend on the cloud on the weekly. Okay, anything else I want to touch on before? Okay, that looks good for now. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the cloud discussion. So let me get into a clean chart here. I said clean chart. Okay, so let's break this down into its most fundamental parts. So with the cloud, oops, don't want to do that. So let's get rid of boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is, you can think of the anatomy here. So I'm gonna make a new page here. Let's call this Ichimoku notes. So the basic anatomy of the Ichimoku cloud is essentially anatomy. Basic anatomy consists of a slow moving average, fast moving average, a delayed moving average. Actually, it's not really, it's a delayed price plot, dynamic support and resistance. Okay, so I'm going to touch on these two first points here. So the slow moving average, this is called your Kijun, and this is called your Tenkan. These are the technical names for it. On my chart, the fast moving average is the blue guy, and the red moving average is the red guy. The red moving average is the slow guy. So essentially, we can think of these as the equivalent of a 50 and a 200 EMA, where this is going to be more price sensitive, and this is more of a long-term mean reversion target. In trending markets, we will see the price above the Tenkan, which is above the Kijun, or vice versa. We see price below the Tenkan and below the Kijun. So in trending markets, there is a stacked configuration of the price action, Tenkan, and Kijun. Now, when we look at this, it's not enough to just say, well, price is above and then above and above. With the cloud, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. So with the cloud, you have, the actual cloud itself, which is something like this, right? This is also called the Kumo. And in trending markets, we want to see the price above or below. So additionally, we want to see the price. We want to see price action above or below the Kumo. So for example, here, this is considered a bullish trend. We see price above the Tenkan, above the Kijun, and above the Kumo. For further strength of trend, there's an additional thing, which is called the lagging span on the indicator. But what is the actual name? I forget what this is. This is called the Let me see. Lagging span. I always forget what this one's called. Chiku span. That's right. Chiku span. Chiku span. And essentially what this is, if we look at just the lagging span, this is just a delayed mirror image, or not a mirror image, a delayed plot of price. So if I turn my chart into price, you can see that it's just like this guy's here, this guy's here, right? Here's the boom. So it's like this like shadow image of price. And when we're in a trending market, we want to see the price, or we want to see the lagging span also stacked in the configuration. So we end up with this like sandwich of activity where we see the lagging span is above the price is above the Tenkin, Tenkin's above the Kijun, and everything else is above the cloud. Or if it's a bearish trend, it's the reverse. Also, we want the, I'll say lagging span because I always forget it. Lagging span to be either above the stack or below the stack. So in an objective bullish trend equals, and a bullish trend stack equals, or looks like, lagging span above price, price above Tenkin, Tenkin above Kijun, and all of that stuff above the Kumo. Will you put the colors by the Kijun? Yeah, so Kijun equals, or Kijun equals red, Tenkin equals blue, Chiku is yellow, Kumo equals blob. Make sense so far? Okay. So 40,000 foot overview. Green. Well, no. So this is the Kumo, and this is the Kumo. This is like the actual cloud itself. So it's not red. It's both. It can be green or red. Oh, depending on above or below, sort of. So like you can see instances, like honestly, you can just ignore the color. The color is irrelevant, because here, for example, we see that the price is above a red cloud, so it's like, and right here, price is below the green cloud, so that's not quite the same. You can just honestly kind of ignore it for the most part. That's why I wrote blob instead of color. I'll just write cloud. So one of the nice things about the Ichimoku cloud system is it gives you an objective view of trend and trend strength, but it also gives you mean reversion targets. So say, for example, if we look at the daily, it's a little bit better because things happen a little bit more often. But if we're looking at the daily, so here's an example of like a strong trend, right? You will see these occasional, zoom in a little more. You'll see these occasional taps of the Tenkin. And every time it's like a question and answer. It's like, are we still trending strongly? And it's like, close above, cool. Close above, cool. It's when it closes below that you say, okay, well, where are we mean reverting to? And then we would target the Kijun. The hell was that? My stream just crashed? Are we still up? I think we're still up. That was weird. My file explorer just popped up and gave me a weird message. Cool. Okay. So what else can we say here? We can say in strong trends, described above, the market will have a series of questions and answers. If we are strong, the market will test the Tenkan and close back above. If the market is needs to mean revert, you will see closes below the Tenkan and immediately target the Kijun. So blue. Makes sense? So in strong markets, we'll see this sort of activity. And when we need to mean revert, we're here. Now, the market is still, just because we are testing the Kijun, that does not mean we are in a weakening bull market. That is just the mean reversion target. Oh, Bitcoin's finally moving down. So let's say okay. Any questions about this so far? I'm going to go back to my rising wedge chart. See, oh, it's starting to break out of the rising wedge. Starting to break out of the rising wedge here. We'll check back in on it in a sec. Might be a fake out. We'll have to wait for the close, which is in 30 minutes. Okay, any questions about the Ichimoku stuff so far? And of course, for bearish trends, it's the opposite, right? Now we can talk about some setups here. We just do this so it can be up. Let's talk about Ichimoku Cloud. Let's talk about cloud setups. So common cloud setups, we have the C clamp, we have edge to edge. And those, for me, those are the big ones. Those are the ones that I really like. We have TK cross. I'm going to go into detail about these. So a C clamp occurs when a market is highly overbought and takes the form of a C, where the Tenkan greatly deviates from the Kijun. And it looks like this. It's like they'll be trending up together, and then the Tenkan will go flat like this, and it'll start to curve like this. So I'll look for some examples. So here's an example of one that didn't actually play out. Here's a bearish example. You can see here we had a flat Kijun. So if we went back in time, like here, it needs to actually be back further. We want to see a flat, flat Kijun. So if we went back in time here, this would be a C-clamp setup. So we can see here that the Kijun stays flat and it stops trending with the Tenkan. And then the market will target this. Now, if the market is super, super bearish or super, super bullish, it won't even meet that target. So when we look at something like this, we need to approach this with a target in mind, but obviously a manage your risk on the trade. But let's see if I can find a bullish example. They happen a lot on like the 4 hour. Let me look at the 4 hour. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I'm trying to find one that actually plays out. I find that the bearish C-clamps don't play out as often as the bullish ones. Why the F does Twitch default to 480p? I don't know. I'm streaming in 1080, so it's probably just a U setting. You might be on like on a VPN and it's just degrading the quality. I'm trying to find some. I'm surprised I can't find any examples here. Boom. So here's one that kind of played out, but it like blew through it. Let's see if I can find a clean one. Sorry, guys. Thought this would be easier to find. So you can see that these setups, they're not like super common, but when they happen, they're really reliable. Damn, I really can't find any. This is crazy. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to look in other markets, and I'll post it with the notes when I post it in the Discord. But either way, you guys get what I'm saying, right? So you get this little C shape. And then when we're talking about edge to edge, are they overbought or oversold? Edge to edge is reversal setup that triggers when the price is trending in one direction. Market moves opposite the trend, and the candle closes inside the Kumo. So these are way more common. So here's an example of one right here, right? So if we went back in time, here's our edge to edge. It closes inside, and it targets the other side. Sometimes it breaks out. Sometimes it just slaps the other side and comes down. There are some criteria that makes this a little bit more predictable. So the flatter the opposite side of the cloud is, the less likely it is to break out and will just be a mean reversion target. So what I mean by that, okay, so you can see here that when this thing started out, it was flat, but as this thing progressed, the cloud came down, and rather than slamming into here, it kind of just like snaked out the side. An example of a flat one, let's see if we can find a flat one. So here's a flat one right here. So because this is support and resistance, if the cloud is converging like this, that means that the resistance is weakening and it has the opportunity for the market to snake out the side. Now, if it hits the other side and it's flat like this, it's very rare for it to just like go straight up through it. It does happen sometimes, but you know, a setup's a setup, and you know, we can see what happens there, right? What else can we say about this? If here, the candle closes inside the cloud, and then closes back outside the cloud. Exit trade, as this is considered a failed mean reversion. So example for that. Let's see if I can find one. So here's one here. So if we go back in time, we see that the market came up, closed inside the cloud, closed inside the cloud, closed back outside the cloud, and if we go forward in time, see how that played out. Right? Now here's an example of when it actually just full-blown breaks out at the top of the cloud, right? Doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does, right? It just, the market conditions are right, and just gets going and it breaks out, right? What else do we want to say about this? That's probably sufficient for now. Now TK cross, Tenkan Kijun cross occurs when, the market is at a decision-making point. Will we reverse? Or will we consolidate sideways before continuing? So I'll take some of this other stuff off the cloud. Let's get rid of you. Yeah, so let's look at it this way. So here's an example of a TK cross, right? We were in a very strong market this whole way. And as we start going sideways, we get this fella right here, where the Kijun goes up and the Tenkan comes down. It's very similar to, like, with EMAs, you have like a golden and a death cross, like similar kind of concept. And in general, when you get a TK cross, that means that the trend is weakening. But sometimes you get a really powerful continuation signal. In general, a TK cross is a sign of weakness in the trend. A powerful continuation signal is a TK cross that recrosses. So, for example, here, we get our TK cross, we get our recross, and the market continues upward. Another TK cross, a recross, the market continues upward. Now, just because it crosses, that does not mean that it's going to recross and continue. Those are exceptions to the rule. Here's an example of when it crossed and it didn't recross, right? So here's your cross, your recross, your recross, and the trend begins. You know what we know happened here. Again, same thing here. Cross, we get our cross, our recross. It's like way in there. Our recross, and the market goes bang. So if we get something like this, where we get a cross, a recross, and a recross, that's not good. This is the exception, not the rule. Damn, that was a lot of notes. I feel like I probably left some stuff out, but for the most part, that is like Ichimoku Cloud 101 type stuff. I mean, there's a lot more nuance to it if you want to get crazy with it. But like, if you want enough to get by and like just have an objective read of the market, that should be enough, right? And don't worry, like I'll post this in the Discord with the stream notes. So if you want to get the notes, go ahead and join the Discord, and you can find the notes there and all the videos. So I also want to take the time right now, while everyone's brains are filled like a jelly donut, to announce that I'm going to be accepting applications to join the trading group. Right now, the Discord that's open is just for the stream and like, you know, the different content that I have, like Twitter and stuff like that. I've had a ton of people asking me about joining the actual trading group itself, where everyone is discussing the markets. You know, it's been around for a long time, and I'm actually going to open up that application today. So if you want the application, you're going to have to join the Discord. I'm going to have a little bit of a form there, just with like some question and answers. Basically just to weed out if you're a dickhead or not is really what it boils down to, because we've really cultivated a really good group of people. It's been closed for the last year and a half, and if I'm going to reopen it, I want to do it right. So if you're interested, go ahead and join the Discord, and after the stream is over, I'm going to make the channel visible to you, and you can apply that way. So, all right. I just like crammed a bunch of Ichimoku stuff at you. Do you guys have any questions about anything, like literally anything about it? Because I know that's just a ton of information. And it's going to take a lot of time to like probably read through a lot of this again, because it looks confusing, but once you're used to looking at what you're looking, you know, you don't look at it in its individual parts. You look at it in this holistic view, and you can kind of just, I should probably add this too. I should say best used to analyze trend and sucks big time in macro consolidations. Think Cosby sweater. So for example here, like this is stuff like this is just pretty like just useless, right? Like stuff like that is like, that's not a trend. Like this isn't, now once it breaks down, that's of course useful again, but once it's in this consolidation, it's pretty useless. It just gives false signals and all this other stuff. Oh, I should also talk about a cloud breakout too. So let's talk about, I'll add this to it too. Cloud breakout. A cloud breakout is the birth of a new trend, bullish or bearish. Bullish or bearish. And occurs after a prolonged downtrend or prolonged uptrend. To be considered, I'm gonna make these notes. To be considered a strong cloud breakout, we need to see cloud or price trending outside of the cloud and the stacked strong configuration described at the top of the notes. So cloud breakout would look something like this. Let's see if I can find one. So here, let's go back in time. We're time travelers now. So quick question for you guys. Is this, at this current configuration, considered a cloud breakout? This is where you guys type yes or no, or give your answer as to why you feel that way. And while you do that, I'm going to drink some water. No one's going to answer me. No sweater. Do you mean like the Cosby sweater? Well, no. The answer is no, because the lagging span is not above the cloud, right? So if we progress in time, I'll do it slowly. Now, at this moment, this is considered a cloud breakout. We have our stacked configuration. We're above the cloud, and we can see what happens after this. Right? Let's see if I can find some more examples. So here's a bearish example here. We can see here, the market finally breaks down through it. We see our stacked configuration. This is a cloud breakout. There's another one, stacked configuration, cloud breakout, vice versa. So yeah, that's cloud breakouts for you. Okay. Any questions about this stuff? A lot of notes. Why aren't you charging for this info? Well, I mean, I do have a trading group. So, I mean, you get this info in there, and then you also get discussions and all kinds of other stuff. So, I mean, I kind of do. Like, the trading group isn't free, but it's just something extra I want to offer. I also offer like one-on-one sessions. So, like, if you wanted to do like a tutor type thing, like I also offer that as well. So, if you're interested in doing that, like, hit me up. But okay, all right. Cool. I don't know if there's anything more we can draw out of Bitcoin. You guys want to look at some alts? So alts have been very hit or miss. I was looking at Litecoin today, and I didn't realize how much it had pulled back after its leg up. It's back down into the double digits, and it's back to its same bullshit. It's like it had a really big drop, bounced, and now it's finding resistance here. And if you're looking at the daily cloud, this is almost a cloud breakout. So bam. Man, it almost had a sweet edge-to-edge setup, huh? But it's looking like turds. Looking like it wants to fall back out. Maybe it slithers out the side. Maybe it does one of those things. But just keep an eye out for this thing to close back below the cloud. That'd be no good. But either way, it's not the best, not the worst. I would prefer not to see this weakness mid-mean reversion. So... Now, when we look at Ether, for example, Ether has a very similar structure to Bitcoin. But the big difference here is that on Bitcoin, price is currently sitting above the broadening wedge. Ether didn't manage to break out. It's been seeing a ton of volume up here and very little price action, which is indicative of distribution. So this looks very similar to this, which looks similar to this. which looks similar to this. Oh, I should also add to the Bitcoin notes. Watch for a close back side the broadening wedge. Daily TF. But yeah, Ether looks like it's really struggling here. Here's an example of a rising wedge that worked out. Oh, this looks really similar to what we're doing right now. Strong rally off the bottom. Draw this out. I remember this one. Forgot about it until now. But it looks pretty similar. Strong rally off the bottom that just kind of fizzled it out and into this like 3 pushes to a high type deal. And if we look at Bitcoin, it's doing something similar. Where it's like strong rally off the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. But hourly closed outside the rising wedge. This would be considered a rising wedge breakout. There's no doubt about this. This is, you can't redraw this any differently anymore. This looks like a rising wedge breakout on huge volume. Holy shit. That's almost the biggest hourly volume in a while. That's humongous volume. Holy crap. 4 hours looking like it's got an hour left on it. So what'll give us added confidence in this breakout is if the 4 hour closes a bearish engulfing like this. Huge volume, bearish engulfing on the 4 hour. That is not a good look at all. Selling volume. So the concept of buying volume and selling volume is irrelevant, in my opinion. I don't care what the volume is doing. I care what the volume is doing relative to price action. So if you see huge effort to push the price up with very little result, that means there's a ton of supply. I mean, we were up here when the stream started, and I was warning that this looked weak and ready to fall down, and it sure as hell did. So, you know, the signs were all there. Let's see if this thing continues down, but it looks like it's going to. This looks weak as hell. All right, so let's so we'd be somewhere like right here. So let's go ahead and take some altcoin requests, and then we'll cut this short. So I'm tired of talking. Give me some tickers, and we'll take a look at them. So gold's actually doing well. It was having a rough start to the week, but look where it is now. It's sitting right above this resistance, flipping at support. This is looking good for gold. Damn. If you look at the daily SPY, oh, I gotta adjust my colors. Hold on a sec. If you look at daily SPY, it's threatening. Oh, my stuff all moved. Why did that happen? That's annoying. It's looking a little weak right now, to be honest with you. What does the cloud look like on this thing? So here's a failed edge to edge right here. Close inside, close below, and now look, the cloud is resistance to it. It can't get back inside. The cloud is struggling. This is not what we want to see if you're bullish SPY. This looks like it's going to trace it all the way down and then continue down. Or maybe it traces it down and then comes up, you know, whatever. But either way, it's showing that it's resistance right now. Oh, silver's up big time. Shit. I didn't even look at silver today. Silver's up hugely. I really just want to see it closing above this trend line here. Dixie and Bitcoin dropping together? Not really. Dixie's bouncing. Gift him? Yeah, I mean technically if you really, if you want to pay for this content, like you can do it on a donation basis. Like nothing's stopping you from doing it. But definitely not required. Oh yeah, let's take a look at UBS as well. So UBS is actually looking still really good. I talked about this as one of the best setups I've ever seen. We see the edge-to-edge setup. We see the Kumo twist, the cloud twist. I didn't go into detail about that. I didn't feel like touching on it, but when you see a cloud twist with an edge-to-edge, that's usually a really bullish sign. But UBS is looking rock steady. Bitcoin's really taking a shit right now, huh? Good. All right, well, let's throw some tickers out here, and if you want to take a look at them, we can look at them. If not, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. XRP looks like it's retracing a huge leg of this move up. It was, people were euphoric here, and it's eating plates of shit right now, so it's down like 13% on the day. Or from the high, rather. Retesting here is definitely a buy, though. This level is important, so if we see a daily close above this level, that's huge. That's good. That's what you want to see. What else do we want to talk about? Oh, I want to talk about Link. So Link is Link's not looking bad. It has like a nested trading range in it. So we have this macro trading range here, but it also has this nested one here, which if you were in the stream from Monday, I talked about the this meme head and shoulders. And right now this is setting up a meme head and shoulders. I just want to see Link close above here, and then it'll really take off, I think. Daily 200 MA. What are you asking me? On XRP? What do you, I don't even know what you're saying to me. What are you saying? Oh, Bitcoin Cash doesn't look bad either. Funny enough, it's also making this meme head and shoulders. Now we just want to see this thing fake out and close above this level here. If we can get above here, it's set up for big time up. What are you asking me? No, I'm talking about this red zone. Will it go there? I have no idea where it's going to go. I'm just saying that, like, if it closes above here, say it comes down here and closes above, like, that's good. That would be a buy signal. Oh, Ether's having a rough go as well. Ether was also way diverging big time on RSI. Same as Bitcoin. Damn. There's your rising wedge breakout. I don't think this is a fake out, guys. Just saying. Everyone thought it was a meme. I don't know why, but they thought it was a meme, and it wasn't. Dude, the smugness on crypto Twitter during bull runs is so annoying. Like people think they're just geniuses and they think they know everything, and it's so irritating, dude. It's one of the reasons why I during bull runs you don't see me talk a whole lot, is I'll post charts and then kind of just like hang out in my trading group because it's just so annoying. It's so annoying to see people be like, "Oh, never buying any dips. Have fun staying poor." Like, get fucked, dude. Like zero humility from people is so gross. I'm not gonna name any names, but I think you can probably fill in the gaps there. Anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll plug this one more time. Hit up the Discord. If you want to have access to all my clips, I'll for sure clip the Ichimoku cloud, and I'll post that as a separate video, so you'll have some references, and that'll all be in the stream section of the Discord. I'll post all my stream notes, all my tweets, all that other fun stuff, and in that Discord is where I will post the application for the trading group. So if you're interested in joining the actual trading group, which will be a premium group, a paid group, if you will, for whatever reason, there's such the same people who will shit on trade groups also shill ref links and also shill affiliate marketing and also shill like Patreon groups. It's so weird, dude. Like I don't understand. It's like this crabs in a bucket mentality, but it is what it is. I have a paid group. I don't give a shit. It's there. You can either hang out in there or not. I don't care. But if you're interested in doing that, there's going to be an application that's going to go live as soon as this stream ends. And if you're interested in doing that, then go ahead and pop in there. But either way, it looks like the stream's kind of dying out, so we'll call it there. Be safe out there. Hopefully you're not terribly exposed. Hopefully the silence in chat doesn't mean that you're deeply underwater in longs, as we're about to make a new multi-week low. I guess it's just a 1 week low, right? So be safe out there, guys. Check out the Discord if you're interested, and have a good week.